won't stop the beat and go!
Everybody, welcome to the 6th Annual AM1090 Forum! Woohoo! Thanks for coming. It's great to see you here again. Without our sponsors, we would be nowhere, and I want to thank them right at the top of everything. Our title sponsor, your renewable energy resource, Northwest Wind and Solar. That's right. They also make sure we're on the airwaves by buying precious commercial time. And we want to thank the folks from Xfinity, only by Comcast. Thank you. And we want to thank also one of our sponsors, Mr. Tony Connell of Exterior Restorations, Small Business Innovators, 11th District Democrats, ADD Resources, Not a Number, Cards and Gifts, the 33rd District Democrats. The theme tonight, progressive values, protecting the social safety net. Now, before we can bring the whole panel out, we have a special guest. He's in town. Yep, and he thought he'd just stop by, share a few words with us. He'll be on the panel, but I want you to help welcome two-time presidential candidate, probably the most outspoken member of the House of Representatives, from the 10th Congressional District of Ohio. Put your hands together for Congressman Dennis Kucinich.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hello, Washington. Great to be here with you this evening. It is an extraordinarily beautiful day, and the sun is shining, and I know from talking to people from the community that this is a very blessed day. And what we are doing here today, what our purpose is here today, is to bring together ourselves in a celebration of our community as Americans, but also to see if we can find a vision so that America's future will be as bright as the day is in this community right now. That's why we're here. Because at a time of war and unemployment and a massive acceleration of the wealth upwards, it's easy to begin to doubt our nation. We begin to wonder, is this the America that we have committed ourselves to, that we've worked years to achieve? Is an America where the wealth is accelerating upwards acceptable? Is an America which seems committed to war forever acceptable? Is an America which denies civil liberties acceptable? Is an America which doesn't pay attention to the educational needs of our children acceptable? Is an America that doesn't have health care for all acceptable? Is an America which denies its citizens an opportunity for a bright future with a job as they prepare themselves with a good education? Is that acceptable? We are here to say that we are going to help become architects of a new America where we will have jobs for all, health care for all, education for all, and peace. This is something that people have a right to expect. And now, this evening, because you're here, we can have a discussion about what's happening right now in America. I came here from Washington, D.C., and I can tell you the stuff that is happening right now with respect to the debt ceiling and the debt, people really need to understand it. Number one, The debt ceiling has been increased 74 times since 1962 as a routine matter. You need to understand this. 74 times since 1962. Since 2001, it's been increased 10 times. There is no reason why the country should be in a meltdown about adjusting the debt ceiling upwards. It happens because of the way our economy is constructed. If we have funds in Social Security that are excess, they have to be invested. And when they're invested, that money goes towards a debt. Any money in the Social Security Trust Fund is put on the accounting books as a debt because the government ends up converting it to Treasury bills. We have to understand how our economy works. And when we say that, let me tell you something. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever why Washington should be talking about reducing Social Security benefits in the middle of this debate. Unacceptable, unacceptable, totally bogus. Social Security is rock solid through the year 2036 without any changes whatsoever. You go to Social Security on the web, you read the actuarial reports, 2036 it can pay 100% of benefits through 2036. Now, if in 2037 Social Security can only pay 97.5% of benefits, then what do? Well, if we want to look at Social Security's long-term health from 2037 until 2075, it's very easy. All you do is you lift the cap so that people pay the FICA tax if they're making over $106,800. This is easy. We shouldn't be talking about the country going to hell in a handbasket because somehow we can't extend the debt ceiling. It is wrong to include Social Security in this discussion of the debt. It's a separate issue, and it's wrong to cut Social Security benefits. Let's tell the American people the truth about what's happening in our economy. Now, what do we need to do for our economy? The more that we cut spending, the more there's a drag on the economy. We need to prime the pump of the economy. Do I hear the spirit of Franklin Roosevelt cautioning us right now about what to do? We need a new deal for America. We need to rebuild our roads, our bridges, our water system, our sewer system. We need to put millions of people back to work. And government, why should we be borrowing money from the bank? The Constitution, hear this, Article 1, Section 8, the U.S. Constitution put the money power in the hands of the Congress. We gave it away in the Federal Reserve Act in 1913. Government needs to take that power back, and instead of borrowing money from the banks and being in hock to the banks, we invest in our own country. We put America back to work. We rebuild America. We reclaim our democracy. And it's time that we had a serious discussion about that. We have the money and the wealth in this society, think about this, to eliminate poverty. We have the money in this society to create jobs for all. There's no person in this society who should be homeless. There's no person in this society who should be hungry. There's no person in this society who shouldn't have a good education. There's no senior citizen who should have to worry about their golden years disappearing in debt. There is room for everyone in this society, but we've got to work to have a more just society so that the decisions that are made in Washington are about an equitable distribution of the wealth instead of government being turned into an engine which distributes the wealth upwards through war and tax cuts to the wealthy and giveaways to Wall Street. So our future is not out of our control. But it's important that you're here this afternoon and this evening so that through your participation and through the participation of the wonderful group of talk show hosts who are participating here tonight, that we have a chance for the beginning of a new discussion about America. And I think that we owe a special debt of gratitude to AM1090. Let's hear it for them. For bringing us together. I see America coming out of this period. I see an America which is dedicated to peace around the world, which puts away its intention of warring against countries, which calls back its men and women from around the globe and establishes security here at home, which puts an end to the war in Iraq, in Afghanistan, over Pakistan, in Libya, which ends the American imperium and says that we can have the beloved nation at home through focusing in our own social and economic needs. This is what we're capable of. And so let this discussion, then, be what is our vision for America? What is the America that we want to see created? What is the America that we are ready to call forth? And through our creativity and through our love of this country, create the country that we will be proud to turn over to our children and our grandchildren. This is the evening that we can start that discussion. Thank you for being here, Washington State. And now, let's move forward and hear from these great talk show hosts. It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you very much.
We'll start with a question about the debt ceiling. And this actually comes from a guy who lives right in this town, Kent, James Payton. I don't know if he made it here tonight. James, are you here? You can yell. Oh, right on.
Awesome.
All right. All right, James, we're going to start with your question. And for my own person, we'll start with Randi Rhodes. Yeah. And here's the question. How is the current impasse on the debt ceiling going to affect the 2012 election? How much of this is just politics as usual, and how much is due to the influence of the Tea Party? And that theme will run through a lot of what we hear tonight. A sort of Tea Party small group of people seem to have a lot of influence.
Well, there's 87 of them, and you know their leader is Michelle Bachmann. So it's like I know it's a cult. It's a cult, and I mean they are probably the dumbest group of people I have ever seen in Washington D.C. ever in my life. It's almost like the GOP went out and said, you remember when they picked like the Arabian Horse Association lawyer?
Yes.
Michael Brown to be the head of FEMA, and he said, well, I don't have any federal emergency matter. They said, great, you're our guy for FEMA. And then you had Porter Goss, who was a Florida congressman, who said, I'm not qualified to work at CIA. Great, you're the head of CIA. Well, now it's like they went around the country, they found the dumbest people they could find, and they said, great, you're a Congress member. You know, and here's Dennis, who's like brilliant and trying to reason and trying to, find, and they're like, no, we don't want, and they're nuts. But
Are you saying Michelle Bachmann's dumb and she has no gaydar? What?
Marcus, like,
I'm declaring today for president of clang, clang, clang goes the trolley.
when is she going to figure out that she's married to Auntie Mame? I don't know. But that's what they're dealing with there. I mean, the debt ceiling is usually no big deal. It's just done, right? It's just done. Everybody does it. Everybody raises it. Your father raised it like
18 times.
18 times. Yeah. But he did it with like this sort of joie de vivre that everybody I mean, it's not a big deal.
He did it with adulthood. I mean, that statement they've been playing that has been going around where he's talking about, because let's not, make a mistake about this. Everybody has always played games with the debt ceiling being raised. But everybody, like President Obama, for instance, voted against raising the debt ceiling back in 2000, whatever it was, that he did that. But the understanding was always, of course we're going to raise the debt ceiling. Some of us will posture about it to make it difficult for the other team. But at the end of the day, we all arrange that there are enough votes to pass the debt ceiling, and we do it on time. Why? Because we're grown-ups. Yes. And that's what grown-ups do. Yeah.